So I was trying to write this story for like 10 years. I'm a reporter, and I decided I would report both of my parents' deaths. I talked to everybody who knew them. I have hours of interviews on tapes. I got every one of my mom's medical records. I even tried to make sense of my dad's financial stuff. It just wasn't working. So one day I sat down and I wrote a simple chapter about my dad's funeral, and I sent it to my little sister Diana, who's also a writer, and asked her for her feedback. Instead, she wrote me back.
Liz sent me this beautifully written memory of the night our father died, and she remembered everything. She remembered the cop coming to the door, she remembered our mother's reaction, and the first thing that struck me was I had a completely different experience of that night. I was only 4, so I remembered waking up in the middle of the night to my mother in the doorway telling me that Dad was in heaven.
Immediately, we knew we were onto something. The fact that we both had such wildly different experiences about the exact same event made us realize that we really had to tell this story from all 4 perspectives.
So they started calling me up and asking me about things that happened when we were young, like the night Dad died and stuff like that. Then they started asking me about embarrassing things like puberty. And it was hard enough to go through puberty in a house full of women, never mind it being in a book for everyone to read.
They'd be telling me what they remembered on the phone, and I'd be like, that's not how it happened at all. That's all wrong. It's like they were making stuff up.
Even the title is a great example of the 4 of us perceiving things differently. At first, I was kind of down on it because it's such a ubiquitous phrase, but then Dan had this really great interpretation where he imagined...
I don't know, I thought it was like a big sign to our parents saying like, don't worry about us anymore, we've made it, we're all right.
I just loved it when Dan said that. I was like, that's it. That sealed the deal for me.
I think that for me, being the youngest, the most interesting part of writing this book was learning what my siblings went through when we were separated, because I was so off in my own world living with my guardians that, I just learned that, while I was at summer camp, my brother was going to hookers and that my sisters were doing a lot of drugs. I wish I had known this in high school when Amanda gave me shit for smoking weed.
I didn't give her shit. I just told her to get stoned after she did her homework. And I also told her not to pierce her nose or get a tattoo, and she promptly did both. So, maybe we wouldn't have been as wild as we were if our parents hadn't have died, but we probably would have.
More than anything, I think we all learned that losing our parents wasn't the worst thing that happened to us. Being separated was. But we're all so close because of it, and I wouldn't give that up for anything in the world.
It made us who we are. This is stupid, this last line.
Just do it. You wrote it.